Hello, this is Trinont, and today I'm going to do a start with a build diary update and then do my normal stream. So build diary, what is this? This is a Kinetic Bolt Locus Mine Saboteur. So this is kind of like a follow-up to the Power Siphon Mine Trickster build that was popular last league. Unfortunately, Power Siphon Mine got nerfed, but Locus Mine itself did not get nerfed, and Kinetic Bolt didn't get nerfed. The problem with Kinetic Bolt, though, is that normally it doesn't auto-target enemies, which Power Siphon did, which made Locus Mine playable. There is one way to make Kinetic Bolt playable with Locus Mine, because otherwise the mines specifically will target your locations, so you throw the mines here, they'll just shoot your way, and that's jank, and it feels bad for most people. Before this league, the way to bypass that was using Nimbus. Nimbus made the mines fire in random directions. Now, Saboteur, this league, got Shrapnel Specialists, which has the same effect, except with only 50% return, but that's not the important part. The important part is random directions. So the result is this. A little slow at first, but you'll see in Showcase that it looks a little bit better in practice. Also, I have to manually detonate them in the hideout because automation doesn't work. So, that's the premise. And the goal is to take this to 2 Void Stones. We haven't done it yet, even though it's Day 3 update, and that's because I am a slow player, not because I think this build is necessarily that bad. Alright, so what are the pros of this build? Well, the screen clear and projectile spam is nice. You get really good screen clear, more than, I'd say, Power Siphon mines even. Here, let's go to Mine Encampment to showcase some better projection. Like, yeah, with automation and detonate mines, you can see it better. The damage is decent, I'd say, despite the screen clear, especially once you scale it. And Saboteur is surprisingly tanky, all things considered. Alright, so what are the cons? Well, Locus Mine has a dead zone jank, as it always had. You have to it has a thing where if it does not detonate unless it's outside of your range within 3 meters, so if I do this, not detonating, has to move away from it. This will make you learn to hate Temporal Bubble instantly. Single target, while decent I'd say, is inconsistent sometimes because the random directions means that you might not hit your target. This does require a little bit more aiming than Power Siphon Mines as a result, where you want to clump the Locus Mines next to your target. Also, Sniper Marks helps a lot with that. And ultimately, Trickster is probably the better Ascendancy if you can get random projectiles going on that, which requires either a Nimbus or the Forbidden Flesh and Flame jewels with Shrapnel Specialists. Both are probably supremely pricey, so that's an in-game option. So let's talk about League Start. First off, I had the disconnection bug, so disconnects were happening a lot on League Start, which is partially to blame for my slow League Start. I'm also a slow player. It takes me like 10 hours to get to campaign, maybe 12, up to 12. It took me like 13 this league, and I was messing with the mercs and stuff too. It was just taking my time. I personally don't race enough in the economy to care about getting an economic advantage, so there you go. I'd say it's fine. Currently at tier 10 maps, roughly, starting tier 10 maps. And I do fill out one by one. If I beelined higher, I could probably get farther in the Void Stones, but I'm silly like that. Let's talk leveling. I went Kinetic Bolt early and Locus Mine early. I would not recommend this. I did switch to Power Siphon until Shrapnel Specialists. I'd still not recommend it because Power Siphon did take a damage hit. I just go like a different better skill. I don't know what people use, like Poisonous Concoction or Cobra Lash or something. That would be fine. It's still playable, but you have to auto-detonate mines. But once you get to Act 3, get your Ascendancy with the Saboteur, beeline to Shrapnel Specialist, and you do the library quest that gives you Detonate Mines and Automation especially. Well, that's technically earlier, but once you get Detonate Mines and Automation together from Ciosa and Steelskin, then the build comes online. Once you get those three things, you want to get a 4-link at the start, Kinetic Bolt, Locus Mine, Charge Mines, and eventually Volley, which we don't have here, but I'll get into why in a second. If you do it without Volley, you will notice that your projectiles don't spam enough, like there's just too few to really hit everything. So Volley at the start, it actually does okay damage from what in my opinion, but upping that damage, I'll get into how you do that in a little bit. So mercenaries, during leveling they were really powerful. You want to cap their res with gear, otherwise they die, but once you do that, they do their job. They are rippy, especially the Sanguimancer mercenary that does blood damage over time, very painful. Mercs I would run are an Endurance Merc until you get the Searing Exarch Endurance charges every second implicit. Otherwise, a Wrath Mercenary and a Grace Mercenary are good. I'm running a Wrath Mercenary. There's also a aspect of the Spider Mercenary I came across recently that could be good. And Conductivity is nice. Oh yeah, let me turn on Do Not Disturb lest I get interrupted. Anyways, Ascendancies. Again, we're not that early, we're pretty early on in progression, but Beeline to Shrapnel Specialist to make this build work, then Born in the Shadows, then Pyromaniac, both are good defensive layers. So we actually get pretty defensive. And immunity to Ignite and Shock is super nice. Born in the Shadows makes enemies hit you less, which is also nice. Let's go over this tree a little bit. I was going to open up PvE for this, but it doesn't really matter. Don't do this at the start. Take the elemental damage nodes to Trickery, Blood Siphon, get Assassination, Saboteur, go to Cold-Hearted Calculation. I did do a weird thing where I went through Mind Drinker and Beeline to Volatile Mines. Detonation speed is super nice, and the power charges are super nice. Eventually, I went around and took Written in Blood and looped around to respec out of this node. I still had Mind Drinker for a while. Then I went down to get Piercing Shots because you want Pierce. Until then, you have to have Pierce on Locus Mine. It feels bad otherwise. Pierce on Mines. But by the time you get here, you will have a Shrapnel Specialist. So, but you do want Pierce, otherwise it'll feel bad. You could get Pierce on Gloves eventually, but that's an endgame goal. You have your choices afterwards. Personally, I went towards getting some life nodes, getting some like Blood Drinker and Revenge of the Hunted. Got Forces of Nature pretty early on. Up to you if you want to do that or not. Successive Detonations, finished up Explosive Elements. Around the end of the campaign, I started heading towards Disciple of the Forbidden to get charge duration especially. Got the Power Charge and Frenzy Charge nodes pretty early too. If you'd had to prioritize, I'd say Instability, then Fervor are the good ones because you get Evasion and spell damage from those. And you get your charges, by the way, from Charge Mines, super important support. And also getting Frenzy Charges lets you throw mines faster, so you don't need to get throwing speed from like Destructive Apparatus or anything. And then here's the point. So the way I bypass Volley is I anoint Multi-Shot. Yes, I did spend a silver oil and a black oil. Get it? I just used Faustus. You'd have to blight the SSF, but whatever. And the anoint or the Mastery Wands fire additional proj. Oh yeah, also accuracy is important. You do want accuracy mastery especially, and eventually wand mastery with the intelligence added to wands. Accuracy. And, oh yeah, I respect out of Mind Drinker for Deep Thoughts, because this says mana regen and ultimately is a better stat with the same value. But yeah, this is how you get 2 extra proj. You anoint multi-shot, get the extra proj from wand. That's more than enough to substitute for volley. You can do this and hit everything. Alright. Gem links. So, like I said, volley at the start, kinetic bolt, obviously, Locus Mine, yep. These 3 are the big ones, then you do volley as your 4th link until you can replace it. 5th link would be trap and mine damage. And then, or 4 link if you get the double proj. Added cold damage, and the 6th link is probably going to be lightning damage, or you could do LE with attacks. It's just generic damage links, whatever POV tells you to do. The other important aspect, automation detonate mines. You want this, you do not want to self-detonate mines, it feels cringe. And Steel Skin's nice too for defensive conditional. Auras, you want, are they precision? Skitterbots, these 2 are starters. And then I have Flesh and Stone. And Arctic Armor somewhere here. Arctic Armor, Flesh and Stone is the last 2. You could swap these out for Grace or Wrath. Currently, but I like this setup. You get a lot of fizz reduction from both of these. You stand stationary a lot when you're throwing mines, so you get hit decently then. So honestly, the Arctic Armor's nice there, and the Flesh and Stone's extra nice as well, because you're going to always be in sand stance. Take less damage. This is Garotha tech right here, the Flesh and Stone. You can get fizz taken as on gear and stuff, but we'll get there in a second. Movement, shield charge, faster attacks, flame dash, and I put Culling Strike and Bear Trap together, linked with shield charge. Oh no, treasury's out. This is really nice just because the one thing Power Siphon has is coal, so you can get your coal back with shield charge and Bear Trap. Let's see, other gem stuff. I have a Chaos Golem, but honestly it falls off too much. I'm not even casting it anymore. It's good at the start when it doesn't die all the time, but around tier 10, well, like yellow tier maps, it starts dying too much, so good early on. Once it starts dying too much to bother to res, just get Chaos Res on gear instead. It's much better. Which thankfully the Hybrid Chaos craft on Resistances is in a tier 5 map called Conservatory. A tier 6 map, that's pretty early on, so once you get that, you can drop the Chaos Golem and craft Chaos Res on gear, in my opinion. Other fun links, oh yeah, the Arcanist Brand setup. So one easy way to get Chaos extra damage, throw Arcanist Brand down, it'll pop Flame Wall, Tornado, and Frost Bomb. Frost Bomb's just there for Leech. Keep these 2 at level 1, I'm just lazy to replace them because I keep accidentally overleveling them. Oh yeah, don't overlevel Precision, that eats into your mana cost. Flame Wall and Tornado are my extra damage sources there. And Sniper's Mark for a lot of damage too. Sniper's Mark's great for single target. I'd even take that over Arcanist Brand and like Bear Trap, because you only cast this once, and once you do, you know, the boss will, if you're fighting like a long-term enemy like a boss or something, you just Sniper's Mark and at the start of the fight, and then you're good. No more need to cast. Yeah. Alright. So, current gear setup. Generic damage wand. This is probably the priciest thing. I'm reluctant to crafting this, but generally my strat's been essence spamming and then getting spell damage on it. You want spell damage on the wand because Kinetic Bolt scales increased induction to spell damage, which is really nice. And so Prophecy Wand's good, though Imbued Wand can be good too because of attack time breakpoints on mines. I don't want to get into that, but just know that a small amount of attack speed does make a difference when detonating mines at a certain point. a YouTuber named Fearless Dumbo did a vid on it with a 0 instead of an O for Dumbo. Let's see. Just generic hybrid evasion energy shield gear, life and resist on rings, and very straightforward stuff. You want to get strength and dex as far as attributes go, because you'll be starving those a little bit. You do want accuracy on at least one piece of gear, because I am noticing that even with precision leveling up and accuracy passives, you do need like a little bit of accuracy somewhere. I just put on the amulet. Shield-wise, I went with Harmonic Spirit Shield. You could also go a hybrid, like a Supreme Spike Shield, I think it is. Like a hybrid armor evasion energy shield deal. This just gives me damage with the spell damage and stuff, and ES is nice. But Sovereign Spike Shield could also be good, because spell suppress and armor evasion, or evasion energy shield, sorry. And of course, movement speed on boots is the only other extra stat. Oh, implicit. Once you get double charge duration from Disciple of Forbidden's Charge Mastery, see if you can get Searing Exarch Endurance Charge every second implicit, which I got on 2 tries, which was super lucky, but you just keep trying at it, it'll be fine. Fizz taking this Fire or Lightning is good here. Gives you immune to the elements it would hit you with. So like on the helmet and body armor, and then I haven't put implicits on boots and gloves yet, but you have options like Spell Suppress is a good implicit somewhere. I forget which one it goes on. And then I don't know. You have options. Pierce plus the ultimate endgame implicit on gloves is +2 pierce, and that lets you drop piercing shots and give you 3 points. But that's expensive, so don't do that early. Flask, these are pretty suboptimal except for this. You want instant recovery, either hybrid or on low life. Flask with corrupting blood removal. I like Jade Flask. Quicksilver and Quartz are the other ones I would mandate. And then until you get minus mana cost on jewelry, which I haven't gotten yet, which is what I would say is the final thing I would need. Enduring Eternal Flask with some freeze immune is nice, but whatever implicit you care for, or suffix you care for. Ideally you want charges when hit by an enemy on these flasks, but I've just had bad luck on that. And so that's flasks and the gear. So yeah, how it's performed, you do want the at least 3 projectiles, so either a volley or the multi-shot Wand Mastery Anoint. Once you get the Anoint, the damage goes up a lot because you essentially free up, you get like a huge damage boost. You get essentially go from like 1 link with a damage penalty, you get to 1 link with a bonus, and then you can 5 link it for even more, and it does a lot of damage. It's nice. And let's see. Yeah, why don't we showcase a little bit of play here? Well, first I'm going to talk about future scaling. Eventually, when I get into red maps and get the Cold River craft, I think it is. I forget where it is. It's up here. It's like a tier 14 map. You get minus mana cost and jewelry, so that you don't have to worry about a mana flask anymore, and that frees up your. And you should be fine if you have minus mana cost. Either like on 1 or 2 jewelry pieces. Chill immune boots would be nice, so you don't have to worry about chill. Just keep getting a better and better wand. The stats you want to look for is spell damage, flat damage, and a craft that's like elemental pin, which you can get pretty early, thankfully. Obviously, 6 link is nice. Better hybrid evasion armor here. I don't think you need really any uniques, though. There's always a few that can be nice, just generic stuff. But I'm not going to bother with uniques unless I want. All's Uprising I keep randomly coming across, and that's really good for an extra aura, but yeah, that's obviously vanity at that point. If you really want to scale this build, my recommendation would be to get a Nemesis or the Forbidden Flesh and Flame for Shrapnel Specialist. Both are probably going to be super duper expensive. Look at those and go Trickster instead, because that has better scaling for endgame, especially if you're going like Chaos Inoculation and Int stacking. That'll be the way to go. But that's like super duper aspirational here, which is not the scope of this video. And other stuff before I forget. No, yeah. Alright, so we'll end with a showcase. We don't have much sulfite. Let's see if we can get to a 77 map. Nah, we don't have enough sulfite, so let's do a map. And I'll reserve my Merc just to showcase that I do play with it a lot. Yeah, I have an estuary right here. I'll showcase play. Less recovery, poison. Yeah, so less recovery matters for us, but it should be fine. So tier 10 map, I want to say, yeah. And even though the mercs are nice, frankly, you can you get it. Enemies have like more health if you play with them. So in some ways, it's better to if you want to. So like damage boost you get is from like Wrath is nice, but at the same time, the health boost is also mean. Let's just take your items. Hopefully not die too much. Yeah. I do have Ghost Shroud, but it's not that great with Outgrace, which is why I said swapping Forbidden Flesh and not Forbidden Flesh, like Flesh and Stone, Arctic Armor to Grace is not bad. Or Wrath if you feel like you're tanky enough and want to do damage instead. I don't run out of mana immediately either without the Enduring Mana Flask. It's not like super needed. Alright, you got a Chaos Image enemy. This might be rough. Market. Yeah. Titanic Scarab. And this is only a tier 10 map, but at the same time, my gear is only tier 10 gear. Like once like my wand especially is pretty crap right now. And yeah, even though Temporal Bubble's like my bane, it's not too bad if you, as long as the enemies aren't super duper tanky about it. And again, you do want to aim a little bit more than Power Siphon Mines, like just throw the mines in the general direction of the enemy. Whereas Power Siphon Mines were kind of auto-aim, which was really powerful. Alright, let's go to the arena. Crafting recipe real quick. Helps move a little bit, I suppose. There you go. I don't think I need to show the rest of the map. Like, that's kind of where we're at. Atlas Tree's nothing special. Like, you could do it with whatever. I just went Harvest and some essences for early crafts. That's about it. Go for Cartography Scarabs if I can. Yeah, alright. Well, that's gonna be a build demonstration so far. This is the slot for the mercenary heal. And hope this is inspiring. I'll put a POV snapshot in a video description if I upload this.